The billions upon billions that is becoming Ethereum is something that cannot be ignored for any longer, and the billions upon billions it moves each day is becoming just as important. Many can't see it, but a collision of value is dawning on the Ether, DeFi and the users versus those that have secured the network since its birth, the miners. So pick a side for the future of Ethereum, because it's time for Chico Crypto. MEV Miner Extractable Value, a topic not too many crypto investors have even heard of, let alone understand. It's on the top of mind for blockchain and dApp developers though. So what exactly is it? MEV is the measure of the profit a miner can make through their ability to arbitrarily include or exclude or reorder transactions within the blocks they produce. It doesn't have to be a miner either. It can be a proof-of-stake validator, sequencer, and the like. Charlie Noyes, one of the lead researchers of Paradigm, the star VC firm, put out a blog post just in February of this year titled MEV Me, and in it he gives a great example of MEV. He says, imagine there's a $10,000 arbitrage opportunity available on Uniswap after a large trade has caused price slippage. An arbitrage bot notices the opportunity and submits a transaction to capture it, offering a $10 transaction fee to the miner. The $10,000 potential profit from this opportunity is the total MEV. One of two things may happen. Number one, a miner will copy and censor the arbitrager's transaction in order to capture the opportunity themselves. Or number two, other bots will notice and bid a higher transaction fee, starting a bidding war for the right to capture the arbitrage. What this means, aka, is miners are influencing trading and swapping more than they should, and this is just an example with Uniswap. With all the other DeFi applications and protocols popping up daily, MEV is going to become a big issue. In the article, Charlie says, as a direct result of DeFi's inflective success, the known lower bound of Ethereum's MEV is growing at an exponential rate. At this pace, we believe that MEV could create meaningful issues within the next year. February that was posted, what's being done to stop this? But before we get into that, we need to understand how connected Paradigm and Charlie Noyes are to Uniswap. Paradigm was the VC firm which gave Uniswap its initial funding back in April of 2019, and then again in August of 2020 for a second investment in their Series A, which has caused Hayden, founder of Uniswap, to even tweet about their positive and mutually beneficial relationship. So obviously Uniswap and Paradigm are close, so why is Paradigm, Uniswap's backer, so interested in MEV? Well, according to the MEV dashboard, which breaks this down by protocol of where it happened, Uniswap takes the cake, making up nearly 50% of all MEV transactions. Clearly, Uniswap has a MEV problem, so what is being done to stop it? Well, Charlie discusses the potential solutions back in the blog in the section Mitigating MEV. He says, hopefully the next year will bring more clarity on MEV and Ethereum's path forward. A number of Paradigm's portfolio companies are working on MEV mitigations and related problems. If this is of interest to you, don't be a stranger. And he lists those portfolio companies working on MEV, including the two rollups Paradigm is invested in, Optimism and Starkware's ZK rollup. But just below them is another Paradigm portfolio company, Flashbots. Charlie says this in the Flashbots section. Flashbots is a research and development organization formed to mitigate the negative externalities and existential risks posed by MEV, starting with Ethereum. They have built out tooling to quantify MEV and eliminate the information asymmetry in the ecosystem. They are now implementing a proof of concept for permissionless MEV extraction called MEV-GETH, a sealed bid block space auction mechanism for communicating transaction order preference. He then says Flashbot's goal is to make sure MEV incentives do not become opaque and undemocratic. Hopefully their infrastructure will allow application developers to better understand how to minimize their MEV exposure and let some pressure off that could otherwise accumulate into really harmful externalities like time bandit attacks. So, Flashbots is illuminating the dark forest by creating tooling to visualize it. Yes, that MEV dashboard we use to see that Uniswap accounts for nearly 50% of MEV transactions, it's built by Flashbots, which has a ton more data: total MEV, MEV by day, MEV by type, MEV by role, Ethereum network activity from extracted MEV, wasted fees, wasted blocks, and even an MEV leaderboard to see the culprits. So who's behind this Flashbots and MEV dashboard? Well, it's none other than the @GhostStep on Twitter, Stefan Gosselin. We know Stefan, don't we? What we didn't know is what Charlie said Flashbots and the GhostStep Stefan was working on. He said in the blog a proof of concept for permissionless MEV extraction called MEV-GETH. He explained this as a sealed bid block space auction mechanism for communicating transaction order preference. What that is, we'll get into, but how long has this been being worked on? Well, about 6 months ago, the GhostStep posted this in Ether Research: Flashbots front-running the MEV crisis, which dove into MEV-GETH, including how it worked and how to use it as a searcher and miner. But the keywords from this Flashbots Ether Research post we need to remember is this: front-running the MEV crisis, and MEV-GETH is a sealed bid block space auction. Why remember that? Well, Stefan has been working on this for a lot longer than just 6 months. As we can see, in November of 2018, caught on Slide Live, he presented Lil Submarine. What did this do? It temporarily hid transactions on Ethereum, and from the description, the notable use cases include preventing front-running on dexes, allowing sealed bid auctions, and allowing private voting with a public tally. Front-running sealed bid auctions. Lil Submarine from 2018 was a precursor to Flashbots, thus Flashbots isn't anything new. This means preventing front-running on DEXs, decentralized exchanges, has been a goal of his for some time, the GhostStep. So I wonder if something new launched from the GhostStep could be involved with this, like something that would require alchemy. Like from Alchemist Coin. Well, if you go into the GitHub of Alchemist Coin, you can see something called MistX Frontend. Clicking into it, no explainer of what this is and no backend. So what is MistX? Well, luckily Chico can dig like no other. So let's begin. And to begin, we gotta start with the MEV-GETH, the proof of concept from Flashbots. February 18th, Stefan spoke on this with the Zero Knowledge podcast. Let's hear what he had to say about it.
The idea behind modifying Geth, a patch that we call MEV-GETH, is simply to introduce an alternative communication channel for users of Ethereum to be able to communicate more granularly where they want their transactions to be positioned within a block. So it provides this alternative channel that has a few additional properties than the mempool has. One of them is that the transactions are private. So the content of the transactions is never published to the rest of the network until they are mined in a block. The second one is that you can actually send an array of transactions. So you're not limited to a single transaction at a time. And you have some guarantees around the execution of those transactions being atomic. And the final component of it is you are not limited to paying out the miner using gas price and gas limit. But you can actually use one of these transactions to do a direct transfer of value to the miner as a way to make it conditional on certain state transitions on chain.
A direct connection to the miners. How about this connection? Let's go back to MistX, and using the Wayback Machine, I found when the back end of it was included in the GitHub of Alchemist, and they explained just what MistX was. Its purpose: first, bundle the front-end transactions into blocks. Second, find miner extracted value, MEV, and then sends them to the miners through a direct connection. And the number 3, I'm going to black out everything as you have to find it yourself. But as you can see, there is an Alchemist Crucible emoji right there. MystX sounds like it has a lot to do with MEV-GETH, and its GitHub, MystX, it's not public anymore, it's private. Could MystX and Alchemist coins crucibles have something to do with the gas savings of Uniswap v3? Only time will tell, but the connections are there. Uniswap to Paradigm to Flashbots, from Flashbots to the Go Step, from the Go Step to Alchemist. Cheers, I'll see you next time.